All right, let's talk Game of Thrones. This is the second last episode ever, season 8, episode 5, and let's address the elephant in the room right now. A lot of us hardcore fans, a lot of us beloved fans of the show since the very beginning, readers of the books as well, we're very disappointed with the writing of this show. It has been so poor. It's really started going downhill ever since we've run out of books. Since the books stopped and the show's continued, it's slowly spiraled downhill, and it's been more of a fan service show like many others out there. When Game of Thrones first begun, it was so interesting to us and we fell in love with it because it was unlike anything else we've ever seen on TV. Any major main character can die within any episode. Nobody's ever safe. Like, you've got the Red Wedding. Khal Drogo died in season 1. Ned Stark died in season 1. Nobody was safe. It was so unpredictable. And then from about season 5 onwards, it just became a lot more predictable. And season 8 is just written so poorly that some things are just plain old stupid. It's just dumb, and we'll talk about some of that as we recap this episode. So we start off with Varys, who was pretty adamant to betray Daenerys, or not betray her, but he sees something in her. She's going to become a terrible ruler, the Mad Queen, etc., etc. He finds out from the worst kept secret in the history of freaking the Seven Kingdoms, Jon Snow, who was supposed to keep his freaking mouth shut, that he's the son of Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark, ended up telling his sisters and his brother Bran. They ended up telling Tyrion. Sansa, who's obviously a game player, she's playing the Game of Thrones, she told Tyrion, fully knowing that he's going to tell other people. He told Varys. Varys is up Jon Snow's ass right now, trying to convince him to take the throne and be the ruler. It's just so stupid and written so poorly. Varys betrayed Daenerys with the click of his fingers, just like that. He betrayed her so easily. It's just, they're just rushing through everything. It's just unrealistic that he stuck by her all this time, and then why now? What does he see in her now that he doesn't like all of a sudden? It's just come on so suddenly, and it's just so unrealistic. The other thing that really pisses me off is the fact that Tyrion is the one who betrays Varys and goes to Daenerys and tells her that he's the one that's betrayed her and is against her. Varys and Jaime Lannister saved Tyrion from death, from a guaranteed death. His own father, Tywin Lannister, was going to kill him. Varys and Jaime saved him. Why would Tyrion turn his back on his best friend, betray him, and give him up like that to Daenerys? It makes no sense. It's stupid, and they've just turned Tyrion into a moron in this season. He kind of spiraled down the last few seasons, but this season he's just an absolute moron. Back in the days, in the first few seasons, we loved Tyrion. We loved him to death. We fell in love with that wit and that absolute incredible intelligence. He was the most intelligent character probably in the show. Definitely one of them, if not the most. Now he's just turned into a dumbass. He doesn't know what the hell he's going. He actually believed that Cersei was going to come and help them fight the White Walkers off. The old Tyrion would definitely see through that bullshit. And now he betrays Varys. It's just not like Tyrion. And to make things even more stupid, it was a great scene, but Jaime Lannister gets captured by Daenerys or her men, trying to leave Winterfell and get to King's Landing, going back to Cersei apparently, which I thought was just bullshit. He was just telling Brienne what he thought would get him to just leave Winterfell, and so she'd leave him alone, so she'd let him leave. But it turns out that he actually does want to get back to Cersei. That's another thing that I'll get to momentarily. But Tyrion saves Jaime, and it's a great scene with Tyrion and Jaime, where Tyrion tells Jaime how he would have died without him when he was younger. He either would have committed suicide because he was always bullied and ridiculed, or somebody probably would have killed him, but he had this big brother to look after him. He wouldn't have survived without him. And obviously Jaime Lannister played the part in saving Tyrion's life before as well, so now he gets to repay the favour. But hang on, Varys was also there with Jaime. He was in on it, so why would he betray Varys now, and why would he save Jaime? It just makes no sense. It's stupid. And the silly thing is, Daenerys already would have known. She would have figured it out anyway. She already felt felt betrayed because Jon Snow told people about his secret and being the true heir to the throne. So she's already feeling betrayed and going a bit crazy. He didn't even have to do it. She would have found out herself sooner or later. It just makes no sense that Tyrion would do that to Varys. The other stupid thing is there's one dragon left, Drogon. Now, in the last episode, Euron and his fleet took out one dragon so easily with precise shots of that from that scorpion. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 precise shots. Like bullseye, one in the chest, one in the neck, one in the body. There was at least 3 or 4 that hit. Direct hits, no misses. Now, there's one dragon left. Daenerys flying Drogon. She flies on into Euron's fleet, as you can see here. All of them have scorpions, or the majority. There's thousands of scorpions equipped on the ships, and none of them land. Now, all of a sudden, Drogon is in God mode. This dragon is in God mode. It's like a video game. He takes out the entire fleet. Euron's entire fleet. He takes the entire fleet out. This isn't a battle. This King's Landing scene is not a battle. It is an extermination. It just goes from one extreme to another. There's no consistency. How was the other dragon killed so easily? They didn't even see this fleet. They didn't even see anything. They didn't see any of the scorpion arrows coming. And now all of a sudden, they know exactly where they are, and she just takes them all out on Drogon. It's just very poor writing, very inconsistent, and it makes no sense. Visually, this is probably some of the best CGI that you will ever see, and visually it's by far the highest production in a show that you will ever see to date anyway. I don't know how they're going to actually top this, but it's visually absolutely stunning, and it is very well made. The cinematography is amazing. The music in this episode is absolutely epic. It's a 13 out of 13, the music, and so is the cinematography. But the writing, absolute garbage. And it doesn't stop there. After Daenerys and Drogon take out Euron's fleet and all the scorpions on there, she goes to the actual castle and takes out all the scorpions around the castle. We're talking about hundreds more scorpions around the castle. And then she doesn't stop there. She takes out pretty much the entire city. This is where things get a bit strange and she becomes the Mad Queen, or things that just are inconsistent. The battle has been won. They have won. Somehow, by some miracle, Dothraki have been resurrected after the Long Night. There's Dothraki everywhere. There's Unsullied everywhere. It's like the Long Night never happened. They pretty much went from the Long Night straight to King's Landing, and like all those thousands of casualties, they've just been like resurrected. I don't understand where all of these Dothraki came. Remember that first scene in the Long Night where all those torches just, died out? It's like the entire race of Dothraki were extinguished. Well, somehow they're back. It's just inconsistency in the writing. It makes no sense. And single-handedly, Daenerys pretty much burnt almost the entire city at this stage. Maybe a quarter to half has been burnt. And the bells are ringing, which signifies that they're surrendering. The Kingsguard has surrendered. The city has been beaten. Cersei has been beaten. And you think it stops there? No. This is where things don't make sense. Daenerys goes into rage mode, and instead of going towards the Red Keep to kill Cersei or the mountain where they both are, with Qyburn, mind you, the people, the mountain beheaded her best friend Missandei, and the Queen ordered it. You'd think she'd go straight to the Red Keep and burn that down and kill those two people to avenge her friend. Because Daenerys has been the breaker of chains up until this point. Like, the character arc just breaks down here big time because she just goes full on evil and starts taking out the entire city with her dragon, who's still in God mode. No one can take out this dragon now. It's untouchable. Not even a scratch on him. So she continues to ride Drogon through the entire city and burns everything to the ground, including innocent children, women, traders, market workers, you name it. Everyone's just being burnt into ash here. Everybody in the city. So she ignored their surrender, and she's doing something very out of character here. And idiots, the idiot writers that keep saying that this was a lead up from all the things that she witnessed with Viserys, being given the golden crown. She was abused by her brother. Her brother was pure evil and no good. And her husband stood up for her and killed him, and she didn't care. And then she showed no mercy to the warlocks in Karth because they kidnapped her dragons, and they were, it's like she's never killed innocent people. So this is just out of her character arc, and they could have built it up over a couple seasons or several more episodes, but it just came out of nowhere. It absolutely came out of nowhere. They have won the battle. If they did something like killed her dragon after the bells were rung, if it was a cheap shot, or they did something, they killed Grey Worm and they did like this ultimate cheap shot, I could understand. But she just decided to go crazy for no real reason. And Drogon just goes around killing everybody in sight, while with Daenerys riding on his back. It's just, it like visually, it was great, and like they could have kind of gone this way if it was earned, but it wasn't. It's just such stupid writing. Something should have happened to make her go this mad. She's had time to think about Missandei. Cersei and the Mountain are responsible for her death. They're in the Red Keep. Why is she killing these people and not going straight to the Red Keep? It's just so stupid. She knows that they're there. Just go there. Take out the Red Keep. You've got your revenge and you can save all the people. It's just very inconsistent. Now on to a positive. One of the best parts of this episode is the Mountain finally is confronted by the Hound. So the Hound wants to kill his brother for being just a torturous brother since their childhood. And we always knew this was going to happen. It was a super big prediction and you could see it coming, and it's shot incredibly well. You've got that, that castle wall that's missing. A dragon flies past and is blowing fire. Wow, the cinematography and the shooting of this was just perfection, and they had to obviously meet at a staircase here. It was pretty good. Like, you always knew that they both would die, and the Hound here showed that the hatred for his brother actually supersedes his fear of fire, which was actually inflicted by his bigger brother anyway. And they actually the Hound tackles the Mountain, who he can't be killed. He's already a zombie, so he's stabbing him, chopping him up with his sword, and nothing can kill him. He won't die. So the only thing that the Mountain could see that would actually kill him is he tackled the Mountain, and they both fell into a pit of fire. So they all burned to death. So all that fear of fire didn't really mean diddly squat in this case, because the Hound tackled his own brother and he just wanted his brother dead. And so he got his vengeance there. It's a good ending to the story there, I think, for these two characters. One that was actually written quite well, but one that probably, you can't fail this one anyway. It was always going to end that way. Another very poorly written part of this episode and shitty closure to another story is Queen Cersei showed emotion for once. She was crying, she was emotional, she was sad. That's not the Queen Cersei we know. The Queen Cersei we know was venomous. She was about to kill herself and her own child when her city and the Red Keep were being attacked, thinking that they lost to Stannis. But really, Tywin Lannister came in and saved the day. She was about to kill herself and her son. She used to sit in like below when the war was happening, and she'd say things like, "I should have been born a man because I should be up there fighting instead of here with these stupid women crying." She was always just venomous, strong. In this episode, it's like it goes against everything that's been built up around her character. And after 9 seasons of build up about how evil she is, and there's no satisfying death for both her and Jaime. Even that stupid that Jaime even decided to come back to Cersei after all of it's out of the character arc, after all the build up and him finally being with Brienne. All of a sudden, we're supposed to believe that he just wants to be with Cersei. Why? It's just so stupid. It would have been clever if he just told Brienne he wanted to be with Cersei, or he's addicted to Cersei, or whatever the case may be. It would have been clever if he just said that so she'd let him go. I thought that he'd come here to kill her, and he'd end up killing her, and then he'd probably end up dying somehow himself. I thought that Jaime would kill Cersei, as the prophecy always went, and as a lot of fan predictions went, but no. The ending to this story for both Jaime and Cersei is they're crushed by rocks down here because they can't escape. So the destruction's being done on top by Daenerys and Drogon, and this shitty death that happens, like, fair enough, they die together, whatever. They were born together, they're meant to be together, they're twins, they're lovers, they're, parents of their children, whatever the hell, however you want to look at it. They're meant to be together, they're meant to die together, whatever. Why did it have to be like this? They're just crushed by rocks like at the bottom of the Red Keep. Are you serious? That was just so crap, especially after the build up to how evil Queen Cersei is after 9 seasons. That's the best they can write. That's the best they can do. I don't know. I'm pretty disappointed with that one. Super disappointed with that one. The other one that pisses me off so much is the whole Arya thing. Arya and the Hound left Winterfell by horseback, which takes weeks or months. If you remember season 1 when Eddard Stark and Robert Baratheon were travelling from Winterfell back to King's Landing, and they'd stop and have all of these feasts, and they'd talk and feast and drink wine and, have to stay overnight because the travel from Winterfell to King's Landing is so long. It takes weeks, it takes months. And obviously we're running out of time here and everything's so rushed, so they're not going to obviously show the journey along the road. So where the Hound and Arya arrive and just calmly walk into King's Landing, calmly get into the Red Keep, and then for some reason in the Red Keep, the Hound turns to Arya and says, "Girl, if you keep going with me, you're going to die." And there's this big stupid moment where Arya decided she was going to kill the Queen. I don't think that they should have let that happen, but if she came all this way, weeks, months of riding, and then all the destruction that happened in the city, she's in the Red Keep, and then she decides that the Hound's right and she should turn back. Are you serious? So now she has to go back through this nightmare, the worst place you can possibly be in the city, with the dragon attacking anything in sight, and she's come close to dying a couple times, being trampled and all sorts of things, being trampled, being burnt to death almost. So why would she wait up until that point in the Red Keep to turn back? There should be no turning back once you've got to that point. You're one room away from Queen Cersei. You've decided to go from Winterfell all the way to King's Landing, and then you're in the Red Keep, and then it's just... The writers don't seem to consider that the fans are actually going to see it that way. That actually they know the distance between Winterfell and King's Landing and all the time they had to talk and think along the way. And then finally they just get into the castle, just walk on in, and nobody even identifies the Hound, being this 7-foot tall warrior with bloody, his face half burnt off and hair missing. Nobody identifies him. Yeah, it's just very, very poor writing, but it's just made so well. We're at a point now where it's just made so well. It's just unfortunate George R.R. Martin doesn't seem to be as involved. He wouldn't have wanted a lot of this to happen. And somehow Arya, I thought she maybe didn't survive this whole scene with the horse. Everyone's freaking burnt to a crisp. She appears to have survived, and a horse appears out of nowhere. I thought that this was her sort of journey into an afterlife or something like that. But I don't know. I think she's probably survived. But I just think it's just so stupid. How can this show just go so downhill with the writing? It couldn't look any better. It couldn't sound any better. The music was amazing. And I've been rating it high because it's just made so well. I mean, on the budget that they have, 14 to 20 million per episode, obviously it's going to look awesome. The acting is phenomenal. So that's why I've been rating it pretty high. But the writing is just really letting us fans down, and I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. So the writing aside, I still have to score the episode based upon what I see and whether I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it a lot. It's just if you look deeper into it as a reader of the books or as a fan of the entire series, then you're going to identify things and think things are very stupid. So as much as I want to give it a lower score, I can't, because it's still amazing. The actors have done an awesome job, the Mad Queen. The music is just phenomenal. Cinematography, the effects, top notch. Everything's great except for the writing. So Benioff and Weiss, what do they call them? D&D? Dumb and Dumber, some people are calling them. You guys have just turned something original and different into a fan service, even though there's nothing that looks as good as this at all visually and isn't acted. There's no acting that comes in a TV show that comes close to this. But man, you guys have really just almost ruined this show. In fact, you probably have. For a lot of fans, you've ruined it, and I understand where they're coming from. It's just shouldn't have been this way, and I don't understand why they chose to rush it so much. They should have just made at least 2 more seasons, taken a bit more time. So, look, overall, I have to still give this episode a very well-deserved 12 out of 13. I did want to give it an 11. I wanted to take away 2 points because of the poor writing, the ridiculously poor writing. But if this show was written a bit better, it was perfect. It would have been a 13 out of 13, like visually, acting, and music-wise, this can't get any better. It's got the budget, it's got the actors, it's got everything you need, but the writing's just gone downhill. So I'm taking a point away for the writing, and some of you probably disagree and you probably think I should take away more points. I don't feel like I can. It's still really enjoyable. I love seeing my favorite characters. I want to rate this a perfect score, and it would have been the first 4 seasons are just perfect. This has just fallen flat because D&B, Dumb and Dumber, have chosen to provide fan service as opposed to provide something different, which, is probably more fan service at this stage because us hardcore fans wanted originality and wanted that unpredictability. So that's definitely gone from the show. And unless this is a big lead up to something epic in the last episode, then I don't know, it's just gone downhill big time. And it's kind of not that sad anymore that it's finishing the way that they've, changed it. So there you have it. There's my recap, summary, and rant. Let me know in the comments below what you all think about this. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. That way you'll motivate me to do one final video for the finale of Game of Thrones. Love you all. Don't forget to subscribe. Keep coming back to visit your creepy damn uncle, Bannock 13.